Okay, launching at Fisherman's at the KT Surf. It's the 110 litre 710. It's 21 wide. It's pretty awesome. I used it the other day and almost no wind, so just to get a feel. Today there's more wind than I expected actually, so see how we go. The board itself is very stable, very slippery on the water. I'm liking these dimensions. I'm liking the 21 wide. I'm starting to promote that for a lot of people in the beginner range. I don't think you need the long narrow board for a beginner foil, or even a light wind conditions foil I should say. And I think that the downside of the narrow board outweighs any potential benefits. I'm seeing this more and more. My friend Matt, school teacher Matt, started on my old 8.6 by 19 axis, and he had good success. But the more I watch him, the more I realise he needs to be on a wider board. So yes, that narrow board was great to get him up and foiling early on. Like he has balance skills, so he doesn't. The 19 wide is not really an issue for that. Where it becomes an issue is now he's more sophisticated with his riding. He doesn't need the board assist that a beginner typically needs. Like a beginner needs their equipment to help them as much as possible. And now I find, like, so a narrow board keeps water speed. You get it up to speed, it's just going to take off regardless of you making good decisions or not. Whereas these wider, slower boards are more stable, and if you're a sophisticated rider, it's going to allow you to pedal up the board in any, you're going to be ready whenever that bump comes. Whereas the narrow board, you're kind of unstable most of the time, and you're trying to get some pedals in. You've got to try and get lucky when the right bump comes, that you have balance in that moment. So the better you get, the more you can ride a wider board. I know it seems counterintuitive now, or it was before. And anyway, yeah, so I feel like this KT Surf's right in that pocket, 21 wide, 710 long, like this kind of perfect. 110 litres, it's a bit light for Matt. Matt's a heavier guy, he's about 15 kilos heavier than me. But if I was going to buy this KT, I would probably look at the 105 for me at 80 kilos at the moment. Or maybe even the 100 litre, because it's got such a nice wide footprint. You really get that literage, it really holds you above the water. So we'll see, maybe I'll look at getting one, a smaller one. I don't know. I've got like 10 boards at the moment, so I've gone a bit crazy. But anyway, I'll pedal out at Fisherman's, that's enough about boards, and we'll see what the run looks like. Be good, see you on the water. Film some of this parallel stance. Pedal on the right. My usual. No leash today. I thought there was actually no wind on this side, so I was just coming out for a bit of a play. Now it feels like I got 16 knots. So that's great. I'm going to go keep hold of the board. Now I haven't gotten used to straight paddling on my left side yet. That's quite interesting. Try and figure that one out. But this board is super stable, even side on to these bumps. I feel like I've got heaps of litres at 110 with me being 80 kilos. I could definitely size down. It's probably going to make life more difficult, size down. But for something like a Maiden Run board where you're always kind of on a bigger foil, and you've got tighter waves and it's like a very short period, you know, there's a couple of meters between them, you can get away with that small literage, I think. And where it pays dividends is once you're up on foil, you've got smaller mass and you can have a more fun setup. So that's what I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about downsizing. I'm pretty much at a point now where I think I need 3 boards. Well, I need 2 boards. No, okay. I need 1 board, right? I need a good all-round board for all conditions. That's perfect. Something that's going to get me up in 20 knots onshore, 20 knots offshore. It's not just a get up on foil board, but it's also, you know, moderately fun to ride. I can surf it. It's going to get me on foil. For me, at the moment, that board is around 8 to 8.4 or 8.6 at around 20 inches wide and about 120 to 125 litres, I think. And then my next board is something like this KT Surf, where I just want a surfy bay run conditioned board, and for the waves as well. So something around 7.5 long, 21 wide, and around 105 litres maybe. Just something along the lines of this KT anyway. And then the potential third board is something like the Armstrong, which I've bought and used in flat water, but I haven't taken it out in bumps yet, which is 9.6 by 17.25, 118 litres, where it's potentially lined up. You're going to be on your smallest foil you own, and you want to try and get on foil. But that's a once in a blue moon board, so I don't think you actually need that board. You do need the mid-range board. Probably don't need the bay run board, but if you're beginning, you can start on this, and then it becomes your bay run board and your surfing board. So a board like this is a potential option. I'll write something up in the description of more of my thoughts. But here we go. I've just turned downwind. See if we can paddle this thing up. Okay. 1401, 40 skinny. How much wind is this right here? Had a couple of days off. It takes a little bit of time to get back into the groove. Next one, I think. Okay. Take a moment to reset. It only takes a couple of days for me to forget how to foil. Where are we? Yeah. Never easy. As easy as I remember. So now it's nice being up on a nice light, lovely board. Feels short, responsive. Doesn't feel like there's downsides to the width. Not for this kind of run. Maybe if you're turning hard. Possible to lose all your fitness in 2 days. give you, and that is leverage over your system. You got a better lever for leaning into your foil. If you're using a high span foil, a wider board's going to help you control it somewhat with less effort. You probably do the same amount of leaning, but you start getting to those narrower boards, it becomes fatiguing to turn it. Your lever's so small, the width. Take it back in the groove. Very glassy here. Working on my stance again, just narrowing it up. Keep getting called out by my mates. I'm like, man, I used to ride with a narrow stance and everyone told me to go wide. I go wide and everyone says, oh no, you're supposed to go narrow. But anyway, I'll go back to narrow for a bit. You see where I end up. More of a pumping stance right now. Space to ride here. It's very close and slow. Maybe I'll go straight to the south side after this. Supposed to pick up today. Going into a headwind right now. Careful not to let that momentum drop enough that I'm in the hole. If you don't know where to go, just keep your speed up a touch. Try and spot something. Slightest bump here. Downwinding upwind, let me tell you. Okay, that's enough of that crap. Board feels great. Even 710 doesn't feel like the once you're up. Quite narrow in the front and the back. Good cutaway. Just standing here currently. So this will be a perfect beginner board. If you're in bay runs, stable, fast, like slick. Feels small once you're up, feels more like a wingboard. So, you know, maybe don't go to your 8.5 meter, 19 wide, 18 wide, whatever the trend is right now. Just think about your use. How fast does your foil need to go to get on foil? If you're on the 1300, which a lot of people are, pump and glide. Oh. Still working on my parallel stance. If you are on the pump and glide, you only need to go 13 knots, 13 kilometers an hour, and any board can do that. You get to the 1401, you're foiling at 14 kilometers an hour. You know, that's 7 knots, or whatever, 8 knots. You get 3 knots of forward speed just from the wind. 1201, 16 kilometers an hour, you're off. So these, you know, the 1201 does you in almost 20 knots onshore, anything offshore. Oh, except for the lighter stuff. But literally any bump you get offshore size, like Bay Run, you'll be able to ride with the 1201. And the 1201, you do not need a narrow board that's going to be hard to stand on, especially as you size down to faster foils. So yeah, think about that. Think about that when you're selecting your board. But then also you probably don't want a high performance board either, so save some money, buy a second-hand board, just try out some dimensions, go back to the original boards. Yes, the tracks are in the wrong spot probably. Learn to put some new tracks in, put in some high density foam in front of the existing tracks. Learn to work on with carbon and foam and epoxy. So you might get a board for 800 bucks, you might get the tracks for a couple $100, and then you've got the perfect board. You save yourself $2 grand, learn a few skills, and then you got a board you can just smash around, lend out, and you'll probably sell it for $1,000. So anyway, I'm going on. I won't take up all your time, but yeah, consider a wider board if you're starting the downwind buzz, and you can go long and wide. You know, you can go 20 or 21 wide and go 8.5. You know, perfect. You're going to be stable, you're going to have some extra board speed. It's not going to be that fun to get up, but in the beginning stages, none of it's fun anyway. It's all learning. The fun comes from gaining skills. So yeah, I'll leave you with that. Be good, be safe, stay warm. Bye. See you guys.